Now, this is a leopard, another leopard's eating face moment. Very, very, very disappointed about this particular video because I'm originally from the Maryland, D.C. area, and to hear that this particular building might be affected is very, very disappointing. I've been there 3 times, and each time I went there, I could never complete the whole building because if you've ever been, you'll know it's just so much to take in. But what I saw, I liked. You go down and you have to come back up. You already know what we're talking about. Let's watch.
Donald Trump has issued an executive order attacking the National Museum of African American History and Culture and threatening to remove funding from programs that promote what he calls an improper ideology. After days of failing to explain why his defense secretary was texting top secret war plans to a reporter, Trump is attacking black people to distract from Signalgate. The new executive order issued on Thursday attacks national museums for interrogating institutional racism. The horror. Imagine a museum in a country founded on slavery and segregation having the audacity to explore the history of racism. This museum is one of the most popular museums in America, receiving 1.6 million visitors last year alone. Trump claims his order is designed to restore the Smithsonian to its rightful place as a symbol of inspiration and American greatness. So the guy who knows nothing about American history and thought that Frederick Douglass was alive just a few years ago thinks the only way we can celebrate American greatness is by whitewashing history and erasing the legacy of racism. So what does his executive order do? Nothing! Yep, you heard it. It does absolutely nothing except to distract from his Signalgate scandal, stir outrage from black people, and convince his white MAGA supporters that he's sticking it to the colors. The order says the vice president, in consultation with a bunch of other people, shall work to effectuate Trump's goals through his role on the Smithsonian Board of Regents. All this does is tell J.D. Vance to be an asshole on the Board of Regents that governs the Smithsonian. There are 17 members on the board, including several prominent Democrats, and J.D. Vance is just one of them.
Wow.
So he has no authority to make this happen. The order also says the vice president and the OMB director shall work with Congress to try to stop funding from programs that divide Americans based on race. That could have been an email or a public group chat.
Right.
All it does is tell J.D. Vance to try to get Congress to cut funding for black exhibits that Trump doesn't like. The order does not cut funding for this museum or any other museum in the Smithsonian, and Trump doesn't have the authority to do so anyway. For the National Museum of African American History behind me, it's important to remember that 46% of its $81 million budget comes from federal appropriations, but most of the funding comes from private donations and general trust funds. So even if Trump and Vance convince the Republican Congress to cut funding, we as Americans can make up the annual $37 million in potential lost funding from the government for a few years until we get rid of these clowns in the White House. But here's the kicker. The same executive order that purports to restore truth and sanity to American history instructs the Department of Interior to reinstate Confederate monuments that were removed during the Biden administration. Yes, they're eliminating black contributions to American history. At the same time, they're celebrating the most racist white contributions, slavery, and Civil War. You see, the Biden administration removed an infamous Confederate memorial here at Arlington National Cemetery and renamed military bases that had been named after Confederate generals. For those who don't remember history, the Confederates were the bad guys in the Civil War who broke away from the United States to preserve slavery. Trump doesn't like them being portrayed as bad guys. So let's review here. Trump's executive order does nothing to the National Museum of African American History and Culture except get people talking about it, which means it's all a distraction from the scandal over the Yemen attack, which itself was a distraction from the economy, according to Pete Hegseth's text message on Signal. This guy is like the opposite of Commissioner Gordon turning on the bat signal in Gotham. Whenever Trump gets in trouble, he turns on the chat signal, and all the racists in MAGA world come running to his defense.
Whoa. That doesn't surprise me. They really want the African American people to cut a fool in these streets. But we're not doing it. We are learning to bake cakes. We're reading books. We are taking new classes. We're trying out different makeups. We're thrifting. We're doing all of that. We're just sitting back with our arms folded, watching everyone march. That's what we're doing. So now you're tapping on the shoulder of the African American National Museum, which is a beautiful edifice. If I haven't told you, I'm originally from Washington, D.C., born and raised. Went to high school there, elementary, middle, all of that. So it wasn't there when I was there, so I had to go back a few times to see this beautiful memorial of different events that African Americans have put their little toe in to create this beautiful edifice. And it's such a thing to behold. If you have a chance, please go get your ticket. It's free. It's FREE. It's free 99. You don't have to pay. You just got to make sure that you request in advance so you can go and see it. And be prepared to be there all damn day long. Get there early. Take your time. Comb through each of the artifacts because it's a wonder to behold. But he wants us to get mad enough so we can get in them streets. And my partner said that he feels like that he's doing that so that he can reinvoke martial law.
The DMV, and I don't know if y'all heard, but Donald Trump is accusing the Smithsonian, that's the African American History Museum in D.C. He's basically accusing them of framing like American history to make it out to be worse than what it is. And the crazy thing is as many times as I've been in there, they didn't even tell all of the worst of the worst. They didn't speak about buck breaking. They didn't speak about y'all eating people. They didn't speak about y'all forcing people to do a lot of things that y'all did back in the day. I mean, yeah, they made sure to, highlight the huge moments, but there are a lot of tiny moments that they definitely didn't put to save face for y'all. So the fact that Donald Trump was to go all the way to say, oh, y'all need to look into this, they're framing it to be bad. No. The things that are in the Smithsonian is things that most people know. Go Google buck breaking. Go Google did they eat slaves. And then y'all come back. And then go see if that shit is in the Smithsonian, because it's not. Y'all so scared of your own history. We know our history.
So Trump is now saying that the Smithsonian used to represent American greatness, and now it's too woke and racially divisive. But it seems like the time that he's talking about is when the institution was literally pushing eugenics and stealing the brains of black people from in and around DC. Because for decades, the Smithsonian literally had a racial brain collection and was a headquarters for white supremacist science. And I don't mean that metaphorically, I mean like officially, institutionally, and federally funded racism. And just so you know exactly what went down, from 1904 to 1943, this guy, Alisher Lichka, led the Smithsonian's anthropology program. He was a staunch eugenicist who believed that measuring skulls could prove racial hierarchies. So he amassed a vast collection of human remains, primarily from black and indigenous people, including children, taken without consent. And here you can see the death certificate of one of these individuals, a black infant from DC who was just 21 months old. But Hryliczka didn't just limit his work to the United States. He expanded his collection through colonial networks, extracting remains from indigenous peoples all around the world, from the Philippines to Peru. And his ideas, which were fully supported by the Smithsonian, helped legitimize eugenics in America, shaping immigration restrictions, forced sterilizations, and segregationist laws. And the work of the American eugenics movement, which Hryliczka was a part of, was later admired by the architects of Nazi racial ideology, including but not limited to Adolf Hitler himself. And it's presumed that this is the period that Trump is now romanticizing as a time of American excellence and cultural achievement. And perhaps the worst part of the story is that as of 2023, the Smithsonian still has over 200 brains in its storage. Meaning this is one of those events where even in bad faith, someone can't just say, oh, it happened so long ago, we need to forget about it. This history is a continuing example of brutal and barbaric racism. Yet Trump's executive order treats any reckoning with this racism as political indoctrination. Yet, as you can see in this primary source newspaper, it was white supremacy that was indoctrinated throughout American history. And the refusal to acknowledge and address it is the actual continuation of this indoctrination. So if there's anything you take away from this horrific tragedy, just remember, the violent racism and oppression that has occurred throughout American history has been normalized as neutral or benign. So when we name it and work to undo it, they frame our actions as disruptive and unnecessary, not the actual issue in and of itself. But if you want to go deeper on this topic, I wrote a full-length article on my Substack about the Smithsonian Racial Brain Collection and the efforts to erase this history. You can check out my Substack by going to historycan'thide.com, or if you're on Instagram, you can comment the word newsletter and be DM'd a link to my Substack account.
Follow that young man. He did drop a lot of great wisdom and knowledge in this about the brain collecting of African American people. The 21-month-old baby. They think we're objects, clearly, and that we should be erased. But you can't erase us because you want to be us. Mm-mm. And I didn't say beat us. I said B-E, us.
And of course, if you learned something new, share this to your story and follow for more.
I'm going to make this quick. So the latest executive order, which is titled Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History, is targeting the Smithsonian museums. And J.D. Vance and his crew have been tasked with eliminating divisive race-centered ideology from the Smithsonian museums and exhibits, because of the federal funding or appropriations that they receive. And so I say all that to say that if you ever tried to discredit anyone who told you that Make America Great Again was code for Make America White Again, you was fucking wrong then and you fucking wrong now. And also fuck y'all. That's all. Fuck all y'all. Fuck all y'all bitches. I'm sick of it. Sick of it. I don't know.
I just want to say I'm proud of y'all for sitting y'all asses down. This attack on the National Museum of African American History is just a deflection from Signal Gate to try to get black people out on them streets. Don't do it, y'all. We are really smarter than this. Please just don't do it. But I'm proud of y'all. April 5th, enjoy the sun. Do something for yourself. And I don't want to see none of you motherfuckers talking about they're doing this, we gotta stand up. And when your ass get locked up, or your ass, nobody gonna come find you and figure out what's going on with you, don't come asking us to pay for your books. We told you to sit your ass down. This is not our fight, y'all. They know it, and they're trying to get us out there. Do not let them bait y'all to get in them streets. Please don't. It's not worth it. Use your money. Use your money. I don't care how dumb y'all think it is. It's dumb until you go out there in them streets and you realize the only time they're going to start putting physical forces when the black and brown people go out there. Y'all
Right.
see how calm these protests are now? Bring your black ass out there and see what happens.
She's right. Like I told you, my partner, my boyfriend did say that he feels that they are attacking the African American National Museum because he knows that when our beautiful melanin skin steps out there on the streets, then that's when they're going to start bringing out these laws, these mace, the sticks, the shields, all this stuff. They're going to start bringing it out there, and then he'll feel empowered to do martial law. Don't y'all, like she said, don't y'all take y'all asses out there in them streets. Please don't. Stay your asses at home or go outside and enjoy the fresh air wherever you live. Or stay at home and watch Netflix. There's a lot of great black ass shows that's on. They got A Different World. They got What's Happening. They got all these beautiful black shows that are out there that you can watch instead of going out there marching. Because I'm telling you, they'll look at you as being the criminal. And you could be standing right beside them who's holding the signs and yelling in their faces, but you'll be the one that will be arrested. So I'm not saying that that the marches are not justifiable. We've marched. Our feet is tired. So this was another leopard face eating moment. And whenever you see this, you know that I'm talking about some leopards, baby, because they are eating each other up. See y'all in the next video. Bye.